What's up, SE Nation? Are your customers not engaged in your presentation? Do you feel like you're putting them to sleep? Here's a quick video from Daniel Caffrey, who talks about the 3 things that you should be doing during a presentation, especially when you're talking about graphics.
Do you want to know the number one mistake that my clients make when they're using visuals for a presentation or a product demonstration? They describe what's on the slide. They tell the client or the audience what they can already see. So if you're using visuals like graphs, charts, diagrams, then you have a different job. The visuals do a lot of the talking for you. So you have less to say, but what you say is really important. There are 3 things you need to do. Number 1 is highlight. You need to explain which part of the diagram or the chart that the audience needs to focus on. Then number 2, you need to comment. You need to say why this is important, why the audience needs to focus on this part. Number 3 is interpret. Then you need to help the audience understand and draw conclusions from the visuals that you are using. So if you want some useful English phrases to help you highlight, comment and interpret visuals in a presentation, send me a DM today and I'm happy to let you know my favorites. Thanks.
Daniel helps people, engineers usually, improve their communication skills so that they can get better at their job, because it turns out communication is fairly important. His website and LinkedIn are below. And in case you don't know me, my name is Ramzi Majraba. I'm a sales engineer out of Ottawa, Canada, and I help other sales engineers get better at being sales engineers. So in addition to the 3 tips that Daniel just gave, I wanted to give my own tips on how you can actually improve. Oh, and by the way, he just DM'd me the list of questions that he asks. So in the end of the video, he said DM him. Make sure to DM him if you're curious about the phrases that he uses. So let's talk about how we can get better at presentations. All presentations, not necessarily just graphs, but any presentation. And this is specific to sales engineers and salespeople who are not interested in doing a speech. This is not a presentation in front of 100 people. This is an intimate presentation between 5 or 6 people where you're interested in getting their thoughts more than interested in dumping your own. So how do we get better? First way we do that is by talking less. I know it's counterintuitive. When we say presentation, it usually means that we stand in front of people and we talk at them. That's not the sales engineering presentation. The sales engineering presentation is a tool to help start conversation. And it's sometimes hard. We're excited about our product. We want to tell them everything that we know. We want to help them. But generally speaking, helping is not through talking, it's through showing, through understanding. And that's the big part. So if we're talking less, what are we doing in the presentation? Well, we can be asking more questions. When you're a sales engineer, every meeting is a discovery meeting. Doesn't matter if it's a proof of concept, if it's a lunch, if it's a demo. It's a chance to gather more information, whether for new opportunities or to help you win the opportunity that you're working on today. It's not a speech, it's a conversation. So we ask questions so that we can talk less and have the customers engaged and talk more. They can share their thoughts about what they're seeing on the slides versus me sharing my thoughts, because my thoughts are pretty much useless, especially if they don't agree with them. I mean, if they don't agree with them, we need to figure out why. And then either guide them to agree with us or understand, and maybe it's not a good fit. Or maybe understand and change our thoughts to fit them and help them that way. So it's a chance for me to understand them better, not for me to, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not trying to sell them the Cybertruck.
Oh my God. Well.
And the questions can help me understand their problems better, make sure they understand that I understand their problems, and then help them solve it. The 3rd thing we can do is take cues from our customers. So if we're asking them questions and no one's answering, what does it mean? Does it mean that they're not interested at all? Does it mean that I'm not engaging? So the cue is, how can I get them engaged? How can I make sure I'm on the right track to solve their problem? Maybe there isn't a problem to be solved and I can just go home and save myself 45 minutes of more presentation. Or they could be asking questions from what we think is left field. Should I pause for a second and make sure that the question they're asking is relevant to what they're trying to solve? Did I misunderstand the problem? Do they want more details about a specific question? These are the cues that we need to take. So if you're doing a broad overview of a solution and the customers are asking specific questions, then maybe I should scrap that broad overview, scrap the presentation altogether, and start whiteboarding with them so we can get into details and understand what they need and how I can help them. And here's an example of not taking a cue. Early on in my career, we met a customer. Now, it was not qualified at all. And for some reason, my salesperson, myself, my salesperson's manager, my manager, and the product manager who's doing the presentation showed up to the call in person. From the customer side, there was one person. He was a lab tech, not a decision maker. He does simple tests with handheld devices. We didn't know all that before the call because obviously it was not qualified. The product manager stood up and started doing the presentation. 5 minutes into the presentation, the tech stopped him, said, "Hey, excuse me. I know it looks like $1 million solution. This looks very expensive. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a handheld that I can use to test my stuff. I already have one that I buy for $5,000. Do you have anything similar like that?" The product manager said no. And instead of taking the cue and asking more questions or hanging up or whatever it is, he proceeded with another 45 minutes of presentation. Today, I would have handled it differently. I would have stopped it, maybe done a little bit more discovery. I would have done something differently. But then I didn't know any better. And the PM didn't take any cues from the customer. And we wasted a lot of time of both the customers and ours. Another thing we can do is not read, whether it's the slide, and that should be common knowledge, or a script. So scripting is good. Whether you write it down or just think about it and practice it over in your head, doesn't really matter. Scripting can lead to good results. The problem is reading the script during a call with a customer. So if you choose to script a demo or script questions for a discovery call, we have to practice that. We have to practice it over and over and over until we don't have to read the script. We can take cues from the script. What I like to do is bold a few points, a few words that will help me remember what I wanted to ask or what I wanted to talk about. I would actually not read the script. I would use my own words and talk based on the script that I practiced. It becomes more natural and it becomes more entertaining. Also, going back to the ask questions part, I like to script questions. Some questions come up as you're going through a conversation. They might stop you and ask you a question, which brings up another question from your end. But if you want to start conversations, don't wait till the end of the slide and say any questions. Script your questions like, "Hey, Joe, I just talked about this. What do you think about that?" Or how are you doing this today? Or like, "Hey, you wanted to talk to us because you wanted the solution. What solution have you tried so far that have not worked for you?" Use the name, use a question, an open-ended question, not "is there any more questions" or are there any questions. The big problem I have with reading scripts is, what if we get interrupted? We need to practice getting interrupted. We need to practice what we're going to say after we got interrupted. And we're going to practice what we say when we get interrupted. Like if it's a question that's useful or not. What are we going to do? How are we going to deal with that situation? Chris White talks about the 4 quadrants, and if it's someone who's important asking the question, what do you do? And if someone who's a warm body in the room asking a useless question, what do you do? So we need to practice those as part of the script. If you're going to script and say, "Please hold your questions to the end," as sales engineers, that's a great way to help people check out. While I was attending presentations and listening to people talk, if I wanted to ask a question, I wanted to ask a question. If they tell me, "Please hold your questions to the end," it shows that they're more concerned about what they want to tell me, less about what I want to know. And I immediately check out, have a laptop open, and start working on other more useful things for me. And then the last thing we could do during a presentation to make it better is pausing. The brain processes things in silence. And there probably is research behind it. I haven't looked it up. And my brain processes things when we're silent. If someone's providing more information, I'm just trying to absorb all of that. I am not trying to process it. Many SEs are afraid of silence. And if the SE is not afraid of silence, usually their salesperson is. So they'll jump in to fill the gaps. But silence is important. You're inviting someone to think. You're inviting them to share their thoughts as well. If you're doing a presentation and you want to ask their question, like, hey, what are your thoughts around this or that? Pause and give them time. Don't be afraid of waiting 5-10 seconds for someone to think. In silence. You don't have to comment. You don't have to say anything. Just wait. And when it's done, most often, someone will say something. Someone will share their thoughts with you, and you will be able to use that throughout your presentation. And the last point I wanted to talk about is tying things together. If someone says a comment at the beginning, and towards the end, you have something that will tie that in, bring that up. Say, hey, John, you mentioned this early on. And this is where I can answer your question, or this is how it would work for your specific situation. And I'm glad you said that earlier. Whatever it is, tie whatever people are talking about. Tie them together. Make it more interactive. Let them know that you're listening to them and you're taking what they're saying into consideration so that you can build that relationship, build that trust, and you show them that you're someone that they would want to work with. So that's it for today. Free plug for the SE Hotline. If you're interested in coaching, if you want to know more about how I communicate with customers, check out the SE Hotline and let me know what you think. I will see you guys next time. Get back to work. Peace.